today we're going to be talking about the new PPP Flexibility Act that the House and Congress passed here recently, I believe on June the 7th, that has basically transformed, once again, the PPP rules, the payroll protection program, paycheck protection program, whatever you want to call it, that basically is going to be changing how business owners are able to pay back the funds, the time constraints on when they're able to pay them back, how much they have to pay back, the forgiveness application, when that goes into effect. So really what I wanted to talk about today was what were the changes that were made. So really it was 4 different things that they changed, and we're kind of going to go through one of those individually. So the first thing that they changed was the amount that you actually had to pay as a percentage of the PPP loan that you received in payroll. So originally it was 75% that you had to pay as part of that loan. Let's just say you got $100,000, for example, you would have had to pay $75,000 to payroll expenses. The other $25,000 would have had to been used for, overhead, utilities, rent expense, mortgage interest, things like that. So they reduced that to 60%, which could be good, could be bad, depending on how many employees you have or how much overhead you have. In my opinion, I think that, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. Business owners needed more than they got anyway. So anyways, they reduced that to 60%. So 60% has to at least be used for payroll. And the other 40% can now be used for overhead expenses, utility expenses, rent expense, mortgage interest, things like that. Okay. The other portion that they changed was the forgiveness period. Okay, so it originally was 8 weeks. So the time you got your loan application was 8 weeks until the time that you had to apply for forgiveness. It was an 8-week time period. You basically had to use all the money in that small 8-week window, which in the first place was kind of asinine, but that's what it was. Okay, so they removed that, and they said, look, we're going to extend this for 24 weeks, ending December 31st. So basically, if you don't get your PPP loan before July 16th, you have until the 31st of December. Now, a lot of people, a lot of business owners, a lot of sole proprietors, a lot of independent contractors already got their PPP money. So what does that mean for you? Well, what that means is that if you got the money prior, that 24-week period also applies to you. Now, you can choose to use the money over the 8-week period, but you have to elect that. Okay? If you don't elect it to use the original 8-week period, then you have to use the 24-week period. Okay? So you don't have to apply for forgiveness. If you got your loan May 1st, let's just say April 20th, let's say, that means your 8-week period, your 8 weeks ends June 20th. You would have had to apply for forgiveness ending June 30th. Okay, but now that's extended, so you don't have to go and apply for forgiveness. Now, the second part of that is the actual forgiveness application. Before they said, after the 8-week period's over, you have to apply for forgiveness. You just send in the application and we'll tell you whether or not you got forgiven. Well, now you have a 10-month period to which you're able to apply for the forgiveness. Okay, and under the new PPP Flexibility Act, you have, for the money that you didn't use for qualified purposes, that didn't get forgiven, it's not to be paid over 2 years, but it's to be paid over 5 years now. So there's a couple different moving parts here. There's a couple other factors that were added. Some rehiring exemption. Basically, if you did hire people, make sure that you have more people on your payroll, or at least the same amount of people on your payroll than you did prior to February 15th. If you had 5, make sure during the PPP time period you don't have 3, because then you're going to have reduced forgiveness. Just make sure you have at least 5 or more. That's going to help out tremendously with the forgiveness part. on top of that, the payroll tax deferrals, I'm not going to jump into details about that, but if you did get money forgiven, you don't have to pay the employer portions right away. You can defer that out even further now under this new act. But for the most part, there's four things or three or four things here to remember. The payroll requirement is now dropped from 75% down to 60%. The forgiveness period goes from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. The program extension goes from 2 years to 5 years. That's talking about the loan repayment period. That's 2 years to 5 years at 1% on that. So these are the things that we're talking about here at Grayson Tax. Grayson, we're always working to help our clients' needs. Once again, I'm Brian Sweeney. I'm one of the partners here. So anything that you would ever need, drop us a comment below, or you could also contact us at our website. We have tons of information on there. You could read all day, watch our other videos that we may have. If you want to contact us directly, you can feel free to fill out a submittal online to our website. Other than that, thank you for watching and have a great day.